All right, guys, I'm back. We're gonna start a test drive. Unlike some other vehicles that I've driven, this is not really a speed vehicle, so I'm not gonna punch it. This is more of a slower but strong vehicle, off-road type of vehicle. So a couple of interesting things about Jeep Wrangler is that number one, the Wrangler has the highest resale value out of any used vehicle. I believe the last 5, maybe 6 years in a row. So what does that mean to you as a consumer is that you're not going to be able to steal a Wrangler. If you want a Wrangler, you're going to pay Wrangler prices. But at the same time, when you sell it, you're going to get top dollar for it. It is one of the very few vehicles that you can buy, drive for a few years, sell it, and usually get pretty close to what you pay for it. I have seen some cases where people take really good care of it and spend some time and money in little lifts and fenders and things like that. You can actually get back more than what you spend on it once in a while, which is extremely rare for any used vehicle or new vehicle for that matter. Wranglers have a very faithful following, more so than probably any other vehicle. Another thing that's interesting about the Wrangler is that people think that the Wrangler and the Hummer or Humvee are made by the same company or were made by the same company, and that is not 100% accurate, but it's also not completely wrong. They are somehow related. Probably, if there were people, they would be like second, maybe third cousins, something along those lines. And that was me. I forgot to put on my seatbelt because I wasn't taking it on the main road using the side streets, so I forgot about it. But the Jeep's telling me that I need to be safe, which I agree. So basically, this is where we are in the Wrangler. Back in the 40s, a company called AMC, American Motors Corporation, got a contract from the military to make a utility vehicle for the military, and that became the very first Jeep. That's how Jeep was born. Later on, the military liked it so much that they gave AMC a second contract in the late 70s to make a bigger, heavier utility vehicle, which will eventually become the Humvee. Now, because AMC was already making Jeeps at the time, they wanted to give this contract their undivided attention. So they created a branch of AMC called AMG, American Motors General. And they were the ones, as part of AMC, that were developing the Humvee. So at some point in the early 80s, a company called LTV Production, I believe, purchased the AMG portion from AMC. So AMC stayed doing Jeeps, and then the AMG branch they created for the Humvees was purchased by this company, which was a great move because a few years later, in 1986 or 1989, Chrysler ended up buying AMC. So now Jeep is owned by Chrysler ever since the 80s. So AMG, owned by this other company, LT, developed the Humvee, and we're making the Humvee. At some point, General Motors saw what the Humvee could be in the civilian market, and in the mid 90s, General Motors bought not AMG but the rights to Hummer and Humvee from AMG, and the contract was that they would be done under GM marketing, GM approach, but AMG will still be involved in the production aspect of it. So that's kind of how both companies, or Jeep and Humvee, are, related to an extent, but they have been separated for a long, long time. But if you look at a Wrangler and a Humvee, you can definitely see the relationship. So that's the Jeep aspect of it. Like I said, I have three stick shifts, 3 automatic, all Wranglers. I also have a Compass, a Latitude, and I think that's it. Oh, and a Cherokee, fully loaded, very nice. So anyway, that's the Jeep. So now, what I think is a funny story. If you've ever bought a vehicle before, if you're in the car business, you've gone through the motions. Whenever a person comes to the dealership, they don't really want to deal with a salesperson. I'm just looking, stay away from me. As you interact with the person, it feels more of a retail transaction, kind of like, hey, do you have this, do you have that, how much is this, how much is that, kind of like you would do that at Walmart or Best Buy. Now, if you've done your job properly as a professional car salesperson, which hopefully you have, you've earned the respect and the trust of the customer, and you've established that, yes, you are the client, yes, I am working for you, but I am the professional. So when I'm telling you something, I'm doing it to move forward in the car deal. I'm doing what I can so this can go as smooth as possible. And that includes, being a professional in that regards includes everything from knowing your inventory. They're like, hey, Carlos, I need a truck that has, an orange interior with a yellow dot, polka, whatever. I may not know if I have that, but I should be able to tell you, hey, come inside, I have 138 trucks. I'm sure one of them will fit you. If not, I can find one. Or if a client says, hey, Carlos, I'm looking at a truck. I need to pull 10,400 pounds. I can be like, all right, sir, perfect. Follow me inside. To make sure that you're able to pull that much, I have to find a truck that has a 5.3 V8 with a 3.08 axle. So when you do things like that, which you should know things like that, you create a trust factor, and hey, this guy knows what he's doing. He cares about me. He's not just, I'm not a number. Like, he's invested into this relationship. So once you get to that point, you can do certain things with the customer, and they know that it's in their best interest. So for example, if you have somebody with challenge credit, you can be like, hey, listen, I want to make sure that once you leave, we're not going to have any issues with re-signing. So please give me 45 minutes for the bank to review and approve the application. And they'll be like, okay, no problem. Or so, for example, if you're with a customer, you show them a few different things, and somehow it comes up that it's the first time they finance, or the previous vehicle was from a buy here, pay here, you know that you may have something to deal with. You're like, you know what, let's take the guesswork out of it. Let's do a credit application before we select a vehicle. And you can do things like that because, like I say, you're under trust, you're a professional, they respect you, and they know that you really are trying to help them. All right, so within all of that, the respect, the trust, that I'm a professional, that you're my client, I'm going to look out for you, the one thing that customers will not put up with is hunger. It doesn't matter if they love you, it doesn't matter if they love the car, it doesn't matter if they get a great deal on it. If a person is hungry, they're going to leave, because that's the one thing that you cannot overcome. So as a professional salesperson, you always try to keep snacks in your desk. So when the person says, hey, I'm getting hungry, how much longer? Be like, sir, I'm going as fast as I possibly can. Here, have this, while I'm doing this. And sometimes they eat it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just the gesture of like, I'll provide this for you, give you some time. And that's basically how it works. So I had this client, sorry, I'm back. If you notice on the video, the picture's a little bit straighter than the other ones, and that's because the Jeep Wrangler has a very boxy, straight windshield. So that's what looks kind of weird, and I caught it. It's usually a little bit lower. But anywho, so I was in a situation like that when the customer's like, hey, we came to terms, we've been there for like 4 hours, and the wife's like, I'm hungry. The husband's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, all right, I'm going as fast as I can. So I ran to my desk and I grabbed a couple of crackers, like the peanut butter crackers and the jalapeno something crackers. And I had a big bag of pistachios because I like pistachios. And I got a great deal at CVS a few weeks back, so I just bought a few bags. So I bring them over and I was like, hey guys, I know you're hungry, I'm going as fast as I can. Have this. So I give it to them doing my paperwork, and then the husband reaches into the bag and grabs a pistachio, and he throws the whole thing in his mouth, which I thought was kind of weird, but I'm like, whatever, he eats how he eats. And then he chews the pistachio. Like, I hear like a crack. And I'm looking at him like, what? And then he has this face like, I'm sure it hurts. Like, what did you give me? And then the wife tells him, no, you have to take off the shell and then eat it. And the guy takes it out of his mouth, cracks it, eats it, and bit into it. And as soon as he bit it, I saw his face. Like, his face just lit up. His eyes were deeper and wide. And he just had this like smile, like So I look at the guy and I said, "Sir, let me ask you a question. Have you never had a pistachio before?" He's like, "No. What is this?" And my mind was blown. I was like, here I am, an adult, sitting with an adult. I'm having, we have a good relationship, and I was able to introduce a new food group to this person's life, which I thought was absolutely amazing. So I was like, well, pistachios and nuts, like macadamia nuts, like they're in the same family, they're different, but the same family. Please have another one. And he sat there and he started eating them, and with each bite, with each pistachio, his face was just happy. Like you could just tell he had had a moment of revelation, and his happiness was making me happy, because I can't think of any other time outside of dad, mom with their kids, as an adult, that you have the opportunity to introduce a new food to a person and have them love it that much. And the guy ended up eating, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 pistachios, and he was just so happy, and I was just so happy for him that that was just one of the coolest experiences I ever had in the car business. And I don't know if you think it's funny. I thought it was really funny, like in a cool way. Yeah, so that's my story. Carlos, your car guy, introduced pistachios to another person that was in the process of buying a car from him, and that's what it was. So that's all I have, guys. I just wanted to do a quick drive. I am back at work. Hopefully you enjoyed my story, and if you didn't enjoy my story, hopefully you enjoyed the information that I gave you about the Wrangler. Like I said, I have several available. Come and see me. I'll take good care of you. Carlos, your car guy, Dimmit Chevrolet, Clearwater, Florida, 727-510-3095. Thank you for your time, guys, and I am out.